My sister showed up at my wedding drunk. Now I found out she was pregnant with my fiancé's child. I'm a 30-year-old woman, and I got married 6 weeks ago. Or at least, I thought I did. Because now I'm sitting on the floor of my bedroom, still in my hoodie from yesterday, my wedding album open beside me, staring at photos that feel like evidence in a crime scene. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I keep replaying that day like a movie, pausing, rewinding, squinting for things I missed. And what I missed was everything. His name is Daniel. We met 4 years ago through mutual friends, one of those setups where you go in expecting awkward conversation and maybe some stale wine, but instead you find yourself staying up until 2 a.m. talking about music and childhood traumas. He was different. Thoughtful. Stable. The kind of man who listens when you talk, not just waits to speak. He was quiet in crowds, but funny when no one was watching. I fell hard. And fast. We moved in together a year after that. Got engaged during a weekend trip to the Alps. I said yes before he even finished the question. My sister Emily was the first person I called. She's 2 years younger than me. Always the wild one. The one who got tattoos before she could legally drink, who dated older guys and crashed at my place every time one of them broke her heart. We've had our fights, God, we've had so many, but she's my only sibling. My mirror. My contradiction. She cried when I told her about the engagement. Hugged me like she meant it. Said, finally. Someone who deserves you. I didn't know then what she meant by deserves. The weeks leading up to the wedding were chaos. Emily was supposed to help with the flowers. She missed the meetings. She was in charge of our playlist. It arrived 2 days before the ceremony, and half the songs were moody acoustic ballads that made 0 sense for a party. She kept disappearing. Showing up late to fittings. Avoiding eye contact with Daniel. When I asked if something was wrong, she said, just tired. Stress sucks the life out of you. I believed her. Because I wanted to. The night before the wedding, we had a small rehearsal dinner at a nearby vineyard. Daniel looked gorgeous in his suit. Emily wore black, tight, strapless, too formal for the vibe. She brought a guy no one knew. Didn't introduce him. Didn't speak much. She drank. A lot. I remember hugging her goodbye and smelling something sharp under the perfume. Like gin and cigarette smoke. You okay? I asked. She smiled, teeth too tight. You're glowing. Like. Disgustingly happy. I laughed. Isn't that the point? She shrugged. Guess we'll see. It felt like a joke at the time. Now it feels like a warning. The morning of the wedding, she was nowhere to be found. We were supposed to get ready together, hair, makeup, champagne flutes clinking. I waited an hour. Called her 3 times. No answer. She showed up 20 minutes before the ceremony, eyes red, dress wrinkled, no makeup. The makeup artist tried to fix her face. She batted her away. I'm fine, she muttered. She stood beside me during the vows. Barely. I remember looking over and thinking she's going to pass out. Or puke. Or both. But she didn't. She just stood there. Silent. Stone-faced. Like someone mourning instead of celebrating. The reception was beautiful. Or so I've been told. I don't remember most of it now. It blurs into white dresses, golden lights, champagne toasts, and fake laughter. I do remember this. Right before the cake was cut, Emily disappeared again. Gone for an hour. When she came back, her eyes were glassy. I whispered, seriously, what is going on with you? She looked at me. And for a second, her mouth trembled like she was about to say something. Then she just hugged me. Hard. Too hard. Nothing, she whispered. Just tired. I love you. The honeymoon was short. A quick escape to Lisbon. 3 days of wine, naps, and soft touches and expensive bedsheets. But something about Daniel felt different. He was quieter. More distracted. I thought maybe it was the stress come down. Now I know better. When we came home, Emily was gone. She'd packed up her stuff from the apartment she rented across town and left a vague note: needed space. Don't worry. I'm okay. She didn't answer my texts. Not the first week. Not the second. On the third week, I drove to her place. Empty. The neighbor said she left in a hurry. Something about needing to clear her head. No forwarding address. No explanation. Just silence. Until last night. I was doing laundry, sorting socks, folding towels. Normal things. One of Daniel's jackets was still in the hamper. I reached into the pocket, pulling out a crumpled receipt. A pharmacy. Dated a week before the wedding. 2 items, a pregnancy test and ginger chews. My heart stopped. I wasn't pregnant. I wasn't sick. I never asked him to run errands like that. And the pharmacy? It was nowhere near our place. But it was 2 blocks from Emily's apartment. I confronted Daniel. He froze. Didn't even try to lie. He just sat down. Covered his face. And whispered, it was a mistake. That's when I knew. I didn't need details. I didn't need dates. Because the truth hit me like glass to the chest. My sister didn't just disappear. She ran. Because she was pregnant. With my husband's child. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there in the kitchen, gripping the edge of the counter like it might hold me up. Daniel sat on the stool, elbows on his knees, hands in his hair, and wouldn't look at me. I asked one question: how long? He said nothing. So I asked again, louder this time. How long? Once, he mumbled. It happened once. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. You don't accidentally have unprotected sex with your fiancé's sister once. He looked up at me then, eyes red. It wasn't planned. It was stupid. It was. She was upset, we were both drinking, it just happened? I snapped. Like a traffic accident? I walked out. I couldn't breathe. I sat on the front steps in my pajamas and stared at nothing. The world didn't stop. Cars still passed. Somewhere down the street, a dog barked. My entire life had just been detonated, and no one noticed. After 20 minutes, I went back inside. He hadn't moved. I told him to leave. He didn't argue. He grabbed a bag and left. No goodbye. No fight. Just a closed door behind him. I haven't seen him since. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed with the lights on, trying to remember everything I ever ignored. The way Emily looked at him. The way he laughed too hard at her jokes. The night we played cards and I went to bed early, how they stayed up, drinking wine, talking. I remembered her bracelet on our bathroom sink. I thought she left it during a sleepover. I remembered the look on her face when I told her I was pregnant last year, before I miscarried. The way she looked disappointed, not sad. And then I remembered the moment that undid me. It was the morning of the wedding. She hugged me before walking down the aisle and whispered, I hope you know what you're doing. I thought she was being snarky. Maybe she wasn't. Maybe that was her last attempt to confess before everything locked in place. The next morning, I called every hospital in a 100-mile radius. No one had admitted a woman named Emily. I checked local shelters. Called 3 old friends of hers. No one had seen her. One friend told me, she said she was going away. Somewhere peaceful. I asked, was she alone? She hesitated. Then said, I think so. I don't believe her. I think Daniel knew exactly where she went. And I think he's with her. But I didn't have proof. Until yesterday. A bank alert popped up on my phone. A shared account we opened for wedding expenses, forgotten, untouched since the honeymoon. Except someone had just used it. A grocery store in a tiny coastal town I'd never heard of. I googled it. Population under 800. 3 hours away. One hotel. A few cottages. A pharmacy. A maternity clinic. I got in my car and drove. I told myself I was being crazy. That I'd find nothing, but when I pulled up to the little market where the card had been used, I saw them. Daniel. And Emily. Walking out with brown paper bags. She was pregnant. Very. He held her hand. They didn't see me. I sat there, frozen, heart slamming against my ribs, watching the man I married guide my sister, to a car I helped him pick out last year. She looked happy. Not guilty. Not ashamed. Just calm. They drove off. I followed. 10 minutes outside town, they turned down a gravel road leading to a rental cottage near the water. I parked down the street. Watched them disappear inside, then I cried. Not like a movie cry. Ugly. Silent. My hands gripping the steering wheel like I wanted to rip it off. Because this wasn't betrayal. It was theft. They didn't just sleep together. They built a world. A life. A child. And they did it behind my back. Together. I drove home that night. Didn't call them. Didn't confront them. But now I know where they are. Now I know the truth. And the worst part? I don't know what to do with it. The next morning, I woke up with swollen eyes and dried tears on my skin. My throat felt like sandpaper. My pillow was damp. For a long time I just lay there, staring at the ceiling. I didn't check my phone. I didn't move. I just breathed, shallow and mechanical, like someone recovering from surgery. Because that's what this was, emotional amputation. And they'd cut me out clean. Around noon, I forced myself to sit at the kitchen table and open my laptop. I don't know why. I didn't have a plan. I just needed something to do with my hands. Out of impulse, I checked Daniel's email. I still had the password. He never changed it. I know it's wrong. I don't care. My life was already an open wound, what was one more cut? There were a few unread emails. Bank statements. A delivery confirmation for prenatal vitamins. A reminder from a private clinic. I clicked that one. It was a calendar notification, ultrasound appointment, Thursday 3 p.m. Attached was a scanned intake form. Patient, Emily W., emergency contact, Daniel H. relationship, partner. I closed the tab before I screamed. I opened Facebook. Searched for the town they were living in. It had a small community page. Locals posting about weather and fishing and seasonal events. I scrolled until I found a photo. It was from a charity bake sale at the town square. And there they were. In the background. Emily holding a cup of lemonade. Daniel beside her. His hand on her back. Her stomach fully visible under a cream sweater. They looked normal. Like locals. Like they'd always belonged together. I shut the laptop. Took a shower that felt like punishment. Then I did something I wasn't expecting. I wrote a letter. To Emily. Not to send. Just to write. You were supposed to be my person. My messy, complicated, selfish person, but still mine. You knew what I went through. You knew how hard I fought to trust again after Dad. You knew I was scared of being abandoned, and you left anyway. Worse. You took him with you. You invited him in. You built a world and locked the door behind you. And now I have to live in the wreckage. I folded it. Burned it in the sink. Watched the paper curl into ash. I didn't feel better. But I felt empty. And somehow, that was progress. Later that night, I called my mom. I hadn't told her anything yet. She answered on the third ring, cheerful. "Hey sweetie. How's married life?" I almost vomited. Instead, I said, "Daniel cheated on me with Emily. She's pregnant. They're living together." Silence. A silence that lasted forever. Then, what? I repeated it. My mom broke. She started crying. Loud, painful sobs. "No, no, no, this can't be." She wouldn't. "Not to you." But she did. I told her everything. The receipt. The confrontation. The bank alert. The town. The photo. All of it. She kept asking the same question over and over. Why would she do this to you? And I didn't have an answer, because the truth is, Emily had always needed to be wanted. Needed. The center. And maybe she couldn't handle watching me have something good without her. Maybe Daniel was just the weapon. Or maybe he really was the prize she'd always wanted, and I just got there first. The next day, my mom drove to my place. She didn't say anything when she walked in. She just hugged me and cried on my shoulder. That night, she asked me if I wanted her to call Emily. I said no. Not yet. Because I wasn't ready. But 3 days later, my mom did anyway. She called and left a voicemail. Told her she knew, told her she was ashamed. Told her she broke the family. No response. Emily didn't call back. Didn't text. Didn't even send a middle finger. Just more silence. And that silence is louder than any apology ever could be. Because silence means she's okay with it. She's chosen him. She's chosen the baby. She's chosen a future that doesn't include me. And maybe she never planned to come back. A week later, a letter arrived at my door. No stamp. No envelope. Just a single sheet of paper slipped under the front door in the middle of the night. I knew that handwriting instantly. I stared at it for 5 minutes before picking it up. It read, "I didn't know how to face you. I still don't. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know it wasn't planned. None of it was. I never meant to hurt you. It just happened. And then it didn't stop. I didn't know how to make it stop. I wish I had. I wish I could have been better. I know I can't undo what I did, but I'm still your sister. Somewhere under all of this. I'm sorry. Emily." No explanation. No reason. Just that it happened. Like she dropped a glass and it shattered. Like my marriage, my trust, my future was just some spill she couldn't clean up. I didn't write back. I didn't call. Because at some point, sorry isn't enough. 2 days after the letter, Daniel emailed me. Not a message. Not a call. An actual email. Like a business transaction. It said, "I know you hate me. I deserve it. I've replayed it every day. The moment I made the choice I can't take back. But I want you to know, I didn't fall in love with her on purpose. It was slow. Stupid. Unforgivable. But it wasn't malicious. You didn't do anything wrong. I just failed." I closed the email without finishing it. I couldn't read him explaining how their affair wasn't malicious. Like that made it better. Like my pain was smaller because they felt guilty while destroying me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask if he kissed her and thought of me. If he looked at her swollen belly and felt pride or shame. If he would have told me, ever, if I hadn't found that receipt. But I didn't ask. Because I already knew the answer. He wasn't going to tell me. Neither of them were. They were going to keep it a secret until it started crying in the middle of the night. And even then, maybe not. I took time off work. Told them I had a family emergency. Which wasn't a lie. My family exploded. And now I walk through the debris every day. Sleeping in a bed that still smells like him. Passing a wedding photo I haven't taken down yet. Answering questions from friends with half-truths and weak smiles. I thought you just got married? Yeah. Long story. And no one presses. No one wants the version where your sister and your husband built a baby out of your blind spots. The version where you were the only one not in on the joke. One night, I went to the beach alone. I didn't bring my phone. Didn't bring a bag. Just sat in the cold sand and stared at the water until I couldn't feel my fingers. And for a moment, I wondered what would happen if I just kept walking. Into the tide. Into the silence. But I didn't. I went home. Because this pain doesn't get to swallow me, they don't get to have that, too. A few days later, I got another letter. This time from Emily's email. Not handwritten. Typed. And different in tone. It said, I found out it's a girl. I thought you'd want to know. I know I have no right to share that with you. But I thought, maybe, if things were different, you would have been her aunt. I threw up in the sink. Not because of the baby. Because she still had the audacity to imagine a world where I'd be part of this. Part of them, like she could still picture me holding the child she conceived with my husband, as if forgiveness is just another season you wait out. But forgiveness isn't a storm. It's a graveyard. And I buried the version of her I loved the second she chose him over me. Now I live with the ghost. It's been a month since I saw them outside that grocery store. Since I watched them walk through town like a couple. Like new parents. Since I realized my reality had been rewritten without my consent. I haven't spoken to either of them since the last letter. I blocked Daniel on everything. Deleted Emily's number. But I still check the community Facebook page for that coastal town every few days. It's sick, I know. It's like pressing on a bruise just to feel something. Last week, someone posted about a baby shower being organized at the local hall. I clicked the image out of instinct. There she was. Emily. Front and center. Her belly round, her hair in a braid I used to do for her when we were kids. She was smiling. Beaming. Her hand rested protectively over her stomach. Daniel stood behind her, arms wrapped around her waist. There was a cake in the photo. Pink frosting. A sign behind it that said, "Welcome, baby Hope." Hope. The name was like a punch to the throat. Hope, like they deserve it. Hope, like I wasn't the collateral of their happiness. Hope, like they're the beginning of something instead of the end of me. I stared at that photo for hours, zoomed in on every detail. Not because I missed them. But because I needed to see what they had cost me. And because part of me couldn't stop wondering, what if that baby had been mine? What if Daniel hadn't slept with her? What if I hadn't miscarried? Would we still be here? Would they? That night, I opened a blank document and started writing everything down. Not for revenge. Not for closure. But because I needed to get the rot out of my chest. Every memory. Every moment I should have noticed. The text messages I reread after the fact, Emily saying, "He looked cute tonight after my engagement party." Daniel offering to help her move, alone, when I had a work trip. The time I came home early and they were watching a movie with the lights off. Too much space on the couch. Too much tension in the air. I wanted to slap myself for missing it all. But hindsight is cruel like that. It turns you into your own prosecutor. My therapist says betrayal warps reality. That it's normal to doubt every memory, every instinct. She says I'm not crazy. That grief has stages, but she doesn't have a word for this kind of grief. The kind where the person you trusted most slept with the person you loved most and created a human life without you. There should be a word for that. For the kind of grief where you lose two people and an entire imagined future in one blow. Sometimes I wonder what the baby will look like. Will she have Emily's eyes? Daniel's laugh? My sense of humor? The thoughts make me sick. But they come anyway. At night. When I'm alone in the dark with only my regret. A few days ago, my mom called again. She asked if I wanted to come to dinner. I said no. She asked if I'd seen the photo on Facebook. I said yes. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I'm trying not to hate my daughter." I knew she meant Emily. But the way she said my daughter made something in me snap. I told her I wasn't her only daughter anymore. That Emily had made that clear. That I didn't need a shared DNA reminder of how replaceable I apparently was. She cried. I didn't. I think my tear ducts have finally gone dry. Or maybe my body just refuses to mourn them anymore. Maybe it's learned that mourning is pointless when the dead keep smiling in photos. After that, I stopped checking the community page. I deleted the folder of screenshots. I stopped rereading the email. But I kept the receipt. The pharmacy one. I don't know why. Maybe because it's the moment everything cracked open. Maybe because it's proof that I'm not crazy. That it happened. That it mattered. Even if no one ever says sorry again. 3 days ago, I saw her. Not on a screen. Not in a memory. In real life. It was raining, and I was on my way back from the post office when I spotted her sitting on a bench in front of the park near our childhood home. Hood pulled up. Belly unmistakable. Alone. No Daniel. No stroller yet. Just her and the drizzle. For a second, I thought I was hallucinating. I stopped walking. She saw me. Our eyes met. Neither of us moved. It felt like everything else disappeared, the trees, the cars, the sounds. Just her, and me, and the impossible distance between us. Then she stood up. Walked toward me, slowly. Carefully. Like she knew every step might be her last. I was hoping I'd see you, she said. Her voice was softer than I remembered. Maybe it was the weather. Maybe it was the guilt. I didn't answer. I couldn't. She stepped closer. I'm not here to ask for anything, she said. I wanted to say it. Out loud. I'm sorry. I laughed. I didn't mean to. It came out dry, bitter, involuntary. Sorry for which part? I asked. Sleeping with him? Getting pregnant? Lying for months? Leaving? The baby shower? She flinched at that. All of it, she whispered. Every single moment of it. We stood in silence. Then she added, I think about what I did every day. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She looked tired. Pale. Not glowing like the photos. Not joyful like I expected. Just drained. Human. I asked, does he make you happy? She hesitated. Sometimes, she said. But not like I thought he would. She sat back down on the bench. I stayed standing. She rubbed her stomach like it grounded her. It's not what I imagined, she said. This life. This baby. Him. It's all harder than I thought. I asked, do you love him? She didn't answer. Instead, she asked, do you still love him? My throat tightened. I don't even know who he is, I said. I think I loved someone who never really existed. She nodded, as if she understood. Then she said something that almost broke me. I wanted to be you. My breath caught. What? My whole life, she said. You were always the stable one. The strong one. The one everyone trusted. I didn't want Daniel. I wanted what you had. And then I took it. And I ruined it. For both of us. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. She didn't betray me because she hated me. She betrayed me because she idolized me. And somewhere along the way, admiration turned to envy. Envy turned to desire. And desire took everything down with it. She stood up. Looked at me one last time. "I won't bother you again," she said. "I just needed you to know that I'm not proud of it. Any of it." She turned and walked away. Slowly. Belly swaying. Feet dragging like they carried the weight of 1,000 shattered things. I stood in the rain long after she disappeared. Letting it soak me. Letting it rinse something I didn't have a name for. Later that night, I sat on the couch with a cup of tea and stared at the ceiling. And I realized something else. I'm still standing. Despite all of it. Despite them. Despite the hole in my chest and the ashes of what my life was supposed to be. I'm still here. And for the first time since it all fell apart, that felt like enough. I woke up the next morning with a kind of clarity I hadn't felt in months. Not peace. Not forgiveness. But distance. A clean emotional detachment. Like the cord that had tied me to them, wrapped so tightly around my chest it nearly stopped my heart, had finally snapped. I made coffee. I answered emails. I even replied to a text from a friend asking if I wanted to go see a movie. I said yes. That afternoon, I did something I'd been avoiding. I opened the drawer where I'd shoved our wedding album. I hadn't looked at it since the night everything came crashing down. My hands trembled, but I opened it anyway. Page after page of polished lies. Daniel smiling at me under a canopy of flowers. Emily beside me, pretending to hold back tears of joy. My mother crying for real. Friends dancing. Toasts. Cake. Laughter. A perfect day designed to collapse. But this time, it didn't hurt. Not in the same way. It felt like watching a stranger's life. A movie I once acted in, before the director rewrote the script and killed off the lead. I took out the photos I wanted to keep, ones with my parents, with friends, with people who loved me honestly. I threw the rest in a shoebox and taped it shut. I didn't throw it away. Not yet. Maybe one day. But not today. Later that evening, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Daniel. I stared at the screen for a long time before opening it. It said, "I heard you saw Emily. She told me you didn't yell. That you just listened. I don't deserve that kind of grace, but I want to thank you. I hope you find better. I hope you find someone who deserves the version of you I destroyed." I didn't reply. I won't. Because his guilt isn't mine to manage. His shame isn't my redemption. I'm not here to clean up the mess he created. I'm here to rebuild what's left of me. And I'm doing it, slowly, stubbornly, fiercely. The next day, I made a list of things I want to do. Not out of revenge. Not to prove anything. But because I need something that's mine again. Solo trip to Greece. I've always wanted to see the white rooftops in Santorini. Delete the shared Netflix account. I deserve my own password, my own profile, my own peace. Start therapy again, not to talk about them, but to talk about me. Get a small tattoo, maybe on my wrist. Something that reminds me I survived. Host a dinner, invite only people who make me feel safe, seen, and nothing less. That list sits on my fridge now. A tiny rebellion in black ink. I don't know what Emily is doing. I don't know if the baby has been born yet. I don't check. I don't look at the Facebook page anymore. I don't ask my mom if she's heard anything. Because some stories aren't meant to be followed. Some wounds don't need constant pressure. Some endings don't deserve sequels. And some people don't get to come back just because they're sorry. It's been 3 months since that day in the rain. Since Emily sat on a park bench like a ghost from a life I used to live. I haven't seen her since. No more letters. No more messages. No updates. The silence is still there, but it's changed. It no longer feels like abandonment. It feels like a wall I chose to stop banging my head against. Last week, I got a call from my mom. She didn't mention Emily. She just said, "I'm proud of how you're handling everything." I didn't know what to say to that. Proud of what? Getting out of bed? Not texting back? Not going insane? But maybe that's exactly it. Maybe survival looks small from the outside. Quiet. Undramatic. But inside? It's a war every day. And I'm still standing. I went on that trip to Greece. Alone. I sat on the edge of a cliff in Oia, watching the sun melt into the sea. The sky went pink and gold and then dark, and I cried harder than I had in months. Not because I was sad. Because I was free. Because I finally let myself feel something that didn't have their names carved into it. I felt mine again. When I came home, I got the tattoo. A tiny wave on the inside of my left wrist. Nothing dramatic, just a reminder that even the most violent storms pass. That the tide always changes. That I'm still here. Still moving. I started seeing someone new. Slowly. Carefully. His name is Adam. He's kind. Funny. Thoughtful. And most importantly, he knows. I told him everything early on. Not because I wanted to scare him away, but because I needed him to see all of me. The broken parts. The mistrust. The scar tissue. He didn't flinch. He just said, "You're allowed to be hurt. You're also allowed to be loved again. We're taking things day by day." He doesn't try to fix me, he just holds space for the mess. And sometimes, that's more healing than any apology I never received. I don't know where Emily is now. I don't know if the baby was born. I don't want to know. I don't care what Daniel does with the rest of his life. They can have each other. They can build their future. But I'm building mine too. And mine isn't built on betrayal. It's built on truth. On pain that didn't kill me. On friends who stayed. On quiet strength. And on a woman I'm finally learning to love again, me. I still have days where I wake up and forget it all happened. Then it comes rushing back like a wave, cold and fast. But those days are less frequent now. And when they come, I breathe. I sit with it. And I let it pass. Because I've learned something. Forgiveness isn't always about them. Sometimes, it's choosing to let yourself keep living, even when part of you wants to stay angry forever. I don't forgive Emily. I don't forgive Daniel. But I forgive myself for not seeing it. For trusting too easily. For loving too blindly. And I'm done carrying their shame. This story doesn't belong to them anymore. It belongs to me. And I survived it. Even if I still don't understand how they could do this to me, I'm finally okay with not having an answer. Because I'm moving forward. And they're behind me.
Follow me for more stories.